Good morning. Doesn't the world seem pretty big sometimes? And it feels like it's full of problems too. Right now, we're being confronted by racism that is through Canada and the United States. We're being shown that Black people and First Nations people are still struggling against people who treat them as less just because of the color of their skin. We know it happens, even when it isn't in the headlines. And we know we need to do something about it. But what can we do? How much influence can we have for good anyway? The answer is plenty. This milk represents your circle of influence, the world around you. Not the whole world, your neighborhood, Collingwood. If you have an online community, it would include them too. And your circle of influence is always changing. Next September, hopefully, it might include teachers and classmates, teammates, coaches. When Jesus came to earth, he was always showing examples of how we can do good to other people around us. He taught us to always seek wisdom and show kindness and look out for others and take care of the weak and the powerless, and that God's love knows no boundary. On more than one occasion, Jesus was confronted by the Pharisees. A Pharisee is someone who is very concerned with the laws and traditions of faith. And the Pharisees knew all of the laws of Moses, the 10 Commandments, and believed that the law was more than just the words, but the actions and the rituals that came along with it. The Pharisees didn't like Jesus' teachings because of all the times that Jesus broke the rules. And even worse for the Pharisees, people followed Jesus. They listened to him. They loved him and respected him, even though Jesus was a rule breaker. And Jesus didn't think much of the Pharisees either. He didn't like that they seemed to care more for the rules than for the people. So on one particular time, when the Pharisees confronted Jesus, it was about hand washing. Jesus didn't require his followers to do that. Now, before you turn to your parents and say, Jesus doesn't want me to wash my hands, just wait. The kind of hand washing that the Pharisees were concerned about was a tradition and a ritual that had more to do with going to God as pure than to do with personal hygiene and germs. And when the Pharisees confronted Jesus about his followers not following the rules, Jesus called the Pharisees hypocrites. A hypocrite is someone who says one thing but does something else. The Pharisees' actions of washing their hands was supposed to show God that they were pure and clean. But their actions towards other people very regularly didn't show that same kind of purity. Jesus didn't have anything against rituals. He attended the feasts and the rituals of the Jewish faith. He learned the scriptures and he knew the law. But the difference between Jesus and the Pharisees is that when Jesus quoted scripture, it wasn't to show how much he knew. It was to help others understand how to do God's will on earth. And every example of Jesus' actions was about justice and inclusion, kindness, grace, mercy. The youth group knows how much I love to remind them that Jesus doesn't care about what they think is fair. Jesus cares about what is just and right. Jesus showed us when he talked to the Pharisees that he doesn't want us to do things that are empty. He doesn't want us to keep doing things just because we have always done them if they don't show others God's love. He wants us to change ourselves and change the world so that we can bring God's will to earth. These colorful dots will represent all of the people that live inside your circle of influence. But still, how can we bring God's will to earth? This swab represents one person. Imagine that it's you. And this soap represents all of our choices and our actions. We can be careful about our words, like not asking for the skin color crayon when you really want the color beige. Or if your friends are telling a joke that seems to embarrass or hurt a group of people, you can tell them that the joke isn't funny. There are so many ways that we can be careful about the words and the things that we do to make sure that we are always honoring others. Now it's time to demonstrate how your actions can change the world. All the colors instantly start moving with just one action. And with another, the change becomes bigger. And you can see, even though I've taken the Q-tip out, the change is continuing. So that when we do something else, it builds. We can see that the change is creating a ripple effect. That one change has created many changes. And with just a few small actions, we have completely changed the way this plate of milk looks, and the way the colors, or the people, interact together. And even after the Q-tip has left the situation, or we have left the situation, the change continues to grow and move. The world might be a really big place, and there are some pretty big changes needed, but you can be a really big part of it too. So this week, let's think about why we do or say what we do or say, and make little changes to bring God's glory and love to the people around us, so that we can start a ripple of change that will make a lasting impact on our whole world.